We had another mock draft given to us by the Todd McShay. And while we go through the draft, we talk about the jockey and the move and whatnot, I'm more interested in the tiers, right? Tiers being what you expect this guy to be able to do in the NFL for a period of time, right? So tier 1, graded 95 or higher, is an elite prospect. This guy should be an immediate NFL starter and is projected as a perennial all-pro player, worthy of a top 5 pick in most years. And there were just 2 tier 1 players in 2019, according to McShay. He's only got 1 in tier 1 in this 2020 class. And it ain't a quarterback. It's Chase Young. We all know that Chase Young is special. Didn't even need to play a full football season for us to know that Chase Young is special. Played some inside linebacker as well as stand up and 3-point stance end. His 95 grade puts him in the same elite class of pass rushers as Nick Bosa, Bradley Chubb, and Myles Garrett. He ain't as refined as Bosa, but he is as explosive and he is bigger, right? And we know that Bosa was the number 2 pick in 2019. We also know, well, man, hey, look, Chase Young is the best player in this draft, and I've said that for some time. I also understand that there's a lot of folks that are just on the Joe Burrow train, right? We've got Joel Klatt calling him Joe Montana. We've got Daniel Jeremiah calling him Tom Brady. We've got folks that are even saying that he is the best quarterback available over the next 2 drafts. So putting him ahead of not just Tua and Justin Herbert and Jordan Love and your man Jalen Hurts, but also Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, right? I think that's interesting. And he gave Burrow a 94 grade, which is to say that he's just not that good in that he can't make him a perennial all-pro player. I don't know that I see it with Joe Burrow as an all-pro player. I think he's a franchise quarterback. I think there's nothing wrong with being a franchise quarterback. Franchise quarterbacks do well. Andy Dalton was a franchise quarterback. He's pretty good with the Bengals. They made some playoffs, right? I think that asking whether or not he can win a Super Bowl is also asking about what the parts are around him. But if he ends up at a place like Cincinnati, we already know they're not going to spend a bunch of money to make him better. We know that. We know that they're not intent on trying to win Super Bowls. I think he could be a great player, but quarterback is the most important position, but it's also dependent on what you have around you. And Joe Burrow ain't Aaron Rodgers. Okay, even as he's got a 94 grade from Todd McShay. All right, others with 94 grades include Derek Brown, defensive tackle out of Auburn, Jerry Jeudy, Alabama wideout Jeff Okudah, Ohio State cornerback, and hey, finalist for the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, Isaiah Simmons, who they list as an outside linebacker. Those all get 94. CeeDee Lamb gets a 92. Tua got a 93. Henry Ruggs got a 92. Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle out of Louisville, got a 92. Christian Wirfs got a 93. So it's interesting to see that many people would say you take the quarterback because of positional value. And okay, I would say that is true if you need a quarterback. But I think I can get a quarterback. I don't think I can get a Chase Young. When we see quarterbacks go number 1 overall, we expect them to do that thing where they win Super Bowls, where they are all pros each and every year. Cam Newton, Heisman winner, top 5 draft pick, hadn't been very good since 2015. Jameis Winston might be backing somebody up. Top 5 pick, Heisman winner. But the great skill players that get drafted up there usually stick. Nick Bosa might outlive Kyler Murray in utility. Right? We'll see about it. Myles Garrett also might outlive Baker Mayfield in utility. We'll see about it. It's difficult to make yourself an all-pro at quarterback if you don't have tools. And with Mayfield, you almost feel like he's running out of excuses because they've changed the head coach twice, okay? Or 3 times now that we if we're going to count Hugh Jackson, right? They've given him Odell Beckham Jr. They've also given him Jarvis Landry. They've given him Nick Chubb. Now we're hoping that they give him an offensive line. Oh yeah, they just went and got Jack Conklin, so they're doing that too. Gonna need to see Baker take a step. Do we think that Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield? Remains to be seen. All right, but I know that Chase Young is a better football player than both. It's not a hot take. That's just what it is. See the facts on the ground. See how he can impact the game. I also think that it's interesting to see CeeDee Lamb with a 92 grade here, along with guys like Henry Ruggs, because you're putting CeeDee Lamb in the same grade as Ruggs and not in the same grade as Jerry Jeudy. I think many of us would think that CeeDee Lamb is a better player and much more likely to have a longer career because his game is built on his hands and his physicality, not on being explosive. Now, we could talk about route running. Cool. Great. But when the ball's in the air, the ball's in the air. I'm going to give CeeDee Lamb an edge there because his hands are better and he's not going to have the drop C's. But then we talk about Isaiah Simmons, who could be better than all of these guys, getting a 94 grade. We're really splitting hairs at the top here. And it's going to be fun. But we're also talking about 12 wide receivers that could be drafted in the first 2 rounds. Okay, it's ridiculously deep, which is another reason why you could see wide receivers slide. The tackles, I think there's going to be a run on because we just don't have that many that we trust. Like Mekhi Becton is getting a 92 grade, but we don't know if he's motivated to do this. You know, the man was up to about 400 pounds before he had to drop a little bit, figure it out. You know, Tristan Wirfs is as close as we can get right now to a can't-miss offensive tackle. And then you got to drop out of that second tier into that third tier to get to Jedrick Willis. Or Jedrick Willis. And that's putting him in the same group of kids as a running back. Like a running back getting a 91 grade, DeAndre Swift, I did not expect to be in this tier 3. But also in there's Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle out of Georgia, getting a 90 grade from McShay. Same grade Patrick Queen got. Same grade that TCU defensive tackle Ross Blacklock got. And then we got to keep going, right? Before we get to guys that I'm really interested to see what they turn into, because Neville Gallimore is getting an 85 grade as a top 50 prospect and sitting at 41 right now. But he's ranked behind guys like Josh Jones, offensive tackle out of Houston. Grant Delpit, Paycom Jim Thorpe Award winner. Safety out of LSU. Antoine Winfield, great safety out of Minnesota. There's lots of value, I think, in this tier 4 to tier 5 territory. Seeing that Christian Fulton is barely in the top 50 tells you a lot about what we think of cornerbacks in this class. Jeff Gladney coming out of Texas Christian at 56. It would not surprise me to see Jalen Reagor, Jeff Gladney, and Ross Blacklock all out of TCU get drafted in the first 60 picks. Because that's just the kind of NFL talent that Gary Patterson turns out, even in a year where they don't win a bunch of games. I'm amazed that we can continue to keep going and get to guys that are absolutely outstanding college players and what they might turn into in the NFL. I mean, Harrison Bryant coming out of Florida Atlantic is going to be a sneaky great tight end get. Perhaps, for me, was the best tight end in the country last year, right? But even he is a tier 6 player. And this is the part where I'm going to get to figure out which one of these NFL teams, as I mentioned earlier in the show, is paying attention. Well, which one of these guys are you going to be all in? Like Colin Johnson ranked 93 in the top 100. I'm not in on that guy. I watched him enough to see he's big, but he doesn't play big. He doesn't impose his size and his will. You know, Derek Stingley, as a true freshman, was giving Colin Johnson everything he wanted and then some. If a senior wide receiver at 6'6", 6'4", can't impose his will on a true freshman at about 6 feet, we have a problem. It's a wide receiver that I'm just not going to be in on. I'm not here for having to coddle a large man that I want to catch passes. I want that man to be out there saying, put your hands on me. I dare you. That's what Jamar Chase said. We all know what Jamar Chase ended up doing to Oklahoma. Just going out there and helping put 63 on him. And here's the thing. Terrace Marshall did a lot of work in that game, but Justin Jefferson was the best wide receiver in that game. It ain't like Jamar Chase ain't just beating people off the ball and ain't just picking up blocks everywhere that he can get blocks. He wanted to be physical with his game. I don't think Colin Johnson wants to be physical with his game.